Welcome everybody, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome dear online visitors also. We have a lot of online visitors seeing this via live stream. Welcome to the Technical Forum of Hydrogen and Fuel Cells Europe. We have a lot of very interesting presentations of the newest technology, and sometimes, as I just learned, it's even more in the future. We can be curious of the next presentation. The program manager of the National Innovation Program of NOW tells us, Alexander Gehling. Please welcome him with an applause.
Yes, thank you very much, everybody. Thanks for the opportunity to speak here briefly to you about a program that we have been funding since 2019. It is the HyLand program. What we do here is we fund hydrogen regions. So basically, we're implementing the hydrogen economy from the bottom up. I will talk briefly about who we are as the NOW. So the NOW is a company that is owned to 100% by the federal government of Germany, represented by the Ministry of Transport. We exist since 2008. We were assigned first with the coordination of the National Innovation Program for Hydrogen and Fuel Cell Technology. That's the so-called NIP. Now, of course, we have many more funding programs that we coordinate, that we conceptualize in assignment of the ministries of the federal government. We've currently about 140 experts in our house who work on different technologies in the field of hydrogen technology, but also electric mobility and the integrated energy system as a whole. So the topic that I will speak to you about is HyLand. As I said, HyLand exists since 2019. We started the first round of funding. We are looking for regions that want to deploy hydrogen technologies as part of their transition to a climate neutral future. But as we started this program, we found that regions actually have very different experiences with hydrogen. There are different levels of the hydrogen economy. So some already have a lot of experience and a lot of projects in their regions. Others don't have any experience yet with the technology. So what we did is we conceptualized three categories: the so-called high starters, high experts, and the high performers. High starters are those regions that don't have any experience. I will talk briefly about what we do in each category, but as you can see, the interest in both phases, first and second phase, so 2019 until 2021 was the first phase. The second phase is currently ongoing. We searched for regions here last year. The interest is huge. We have 51 regions in total now in Germany who want to deploy the hydrogen economy in their regions early. So the total funding for the first 25 regions, so that's the first phase of the HyLand program, was 67 million euros of federal funding. Now in the second phase, for the two categories, high starters and high experts, which we have so far found, is another additional 11 million. I will tell you about the new phase of high performers in the end. What the regions look like: we have in each region consortia of companies and organizations, so that's communal enterprises, that's also the communes themselves, the cities or the districts. They come together in consortia. In total, we have about 500 actors, so that's just an overhead calculation if you assume 10 actors per region. The networks, of course, the wider networks, these are just the core networks. The wider networks span much wider. You can find more information about the individual projects on our website, on the HyLand website. Now I'll go through the categories and explain to you a bit what we do in each category. So starting with the high starter category, as I said, these regions don't have any experience with the technology. So we first bring them some knowledge about it, what you can actually do with hydrogen, where you can implement it in which systems. And then we support them by giving them a consortia of consulting companies. The three of them are listed down here. You see them there, Energy Engineers, Nuts One, and Spillit New Technologies. They're also around here if you find them. Interesting to talk to them. They go into the regions, they help the regions identify the actors that are relevant for the projects, and they share their knowledge with them on what hydrogen can do in the region. The high experts are then the second stage. So these are regions where individual projects are already present and already planned. but we bring them together to form a local hydrogen economy, a regional hydrogen economy. This means along the entire value chain of hydrogen, from the production to the distribution and infrastructure, all the way until the individual applications. I will talk about this more now. What we offer these regions is they get a direct funding of 400,000 euros to commission a study that they commission themselves, and they also manage themselves. And they conduct this over roughly 1 year. At the end, they have a detailed plan on how to implement hydrogen technologies in their region. And these are the results from the first phase. As I said, 2019 until 2021, we conducted the first phase. Rough overview over the results. The results are available online. You can look at them. But if you want to cluster the findings, you can cluster them roughly into technology. So basically what technology to use and where to put it. It's an important question that regions face. Where to put the electrolyzer, where to put the hydrogen refueling station. You have to look at the regulatory conditions, and you also have to look at the business cases, of course. That's the second part, the economics, identification of users and producers. So who are the users in the region, who might produce hydrogen, or who also companies that might transport it. Then in the second phase, of course, the cost analysis. So for what cost can I produce hydrogen in my region? The target cost was always between 5 to 7 euros, so that you get a real cost comparity to diesel technologies. And this is what most of the regions also found that they could realize in the near future. The last part is the policy part. So mainly here is the regulatory, the view on the regulations that are currently ongoing. Of course, there's a regulatory push with the Clean Vehicles Directive, for example. But another very important part was the impact of the RED II directive, the definition of green hydrogen, because this impacts the projects, of course, in a big way. So what do we talk about? When we talk about a hydrogen region, we talk about, as I said, the integrated approach. So integrate all the technologies along the value chain into one project, bring all these different actors together, discuss how to roll it out, when to roll it out, and this bears a lot of potential in terms of reducing the risk of the individual actor and reducing or sharing the load of the investment. You can coordinate when, for example, to build an electrolyzer so that it can provide hydrogen, regional and green hydrogen to your refueling station, and that also has then customers. So that's the coordination part. An important part was, as I said earlier, where to place the electrolyzer. One question that was central here is, can you sell heat and can you sell oxygen? Because of course this makes electrolyzers more efficient and it brings them closer to their business case. The finding here is, if it is in close proximity to your electrolyzer, and if there's an existing grid or an existing customer for oxygen and heat, then this is very feasible and a very good way to do it. Secondly, I want to talk about briefly sorry, I want to go back now. The hydrogen refueling stations, so where to place them. We've had different approaches here depending on what the region favors and the conditions of the region. For example, we have the region of Fulda, where there are many logistic companies, operators of trucks, and they of course have an interest in a national hydrogen refueling infrastructure. So what they did in their study is they conducted a large-scale questionnaire with many actors in Germany. We see the results here on the right side, with Fulda in the middle, and then from that they deducted where to build the hydrogen refueling station in their regions, and several will actually be placed there in the future. So the third category that we had, I touched on it briefly, is the category of high performers. These are regions where concrete projects are already planned. They already have a regional hydrogen economy planned and conceptualized, and now we support them, or the federal government of transport supports them in implementing these projects and realizing them with, in the first phase, 20 million euros of federal funding each. As I said, in the first phase we were looking for one region. We found 3 because the applications were of high quality. These projects are now up and running, so the technologies are being procured now or in the near future. All the funding has been approved for these. You can see the project volume of the project. The total investment volume is around 40 to 60 or 80 million, which is then the wider area. And the technologies that are being deployed, you can see here on the right side. In addition to just the mere deployment of the technology, these regions also form large networks of actors that come together, talk about this technology, increases the acceptance and increases the knowledge. So we were very happy when a few weeks ago, on the 12th of May, the Minister of Transport, Volker Wissing, was at our event in Berlin at the HyLand Symposium on the 12th of May and announced officially that we will have a second phase of the high performer funding. It will be conducted in this year, so we are currently working on the finalization of the documents. We'll publish them soon. The application period will be roughly in the end of third and the fourth quarter of this year. We're looking here for regions who are, as I said, have an integrated hydrogen project, so they have the individual projects put together into one plan, a common storyline which connects all these projects. And then in the next step, they want to realize them. So investment decisions have been taken. The demand for technologies, I can tell you this much, is huge. We have alone in the 13 high expert regions whose results I briefly presented there. We have a potential of 157 megawatt installed electrolysis capacity until 2025. So this is what they're planning with and hoping for. In addition to this, on the customer side, we have a demand of about 750 trucks. So this is trucks and buses are the main off-takers of hydrogen that we're looking at in these regions right now, or that the regions themselves are looking at identifying as the biggest takers of hydrogen. You can find more information on all of this. We publish all the results, the final results of the regions on our website. Do visit us. You also get updates when the regions are doing something for events, or when we are when we have events on the news finder. So this is our website. If you have any further questions, our booth is just down here behind the public forum. You can find us there, and maybe we can have a chat about hydrogen regions. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thanks a lot for this interesting presentation, Alexander Gehling.